Okay, so these are your vocabulary words from Chapter 1 from the Making Reading Real book. These all come from the reading passages that we've been reading. Your first word is pined, and it is a verb, so it is an action, something you do. The definition is, if you pine for a place or something, you miss it a lot and wish you could be there or have it again. So it's like a longing for something you desire. Here's an example. After 2 months in France, I was pining for home. So after visiting France for 2 months, they really had a strong desire to be home. Here's a little visual to help you remember. In this comic, this gentleman is pining for his television because he keeps pressing the remote even though the TV's been at the repair shop for the entire week. Your second word is banal. Banal is an adjective, and that is a word that describes a noun. Here's the definition. Banal is ordinary and not interesting because of lack of new or different ideas. So, whenever I see my parents, we have conversations about the most banal subjects. I have a hard time staying awake. So obviously this person, when they discuss things with their parents, it's very ordinary, very boring, nothing very exciting. And here's a cartoon to help you remember it. So you have the fish here. This fish obviously makes his tweets about the most banal things because he's just tweeting about how they're swimming around the bowl. But at the same time, I don't know what else the fish has to tweet about. Next word is retrospect, and that is a noun. The definition is thinking back to a time in the past, especially with the advantage of knowing more now than you did then. So think of the word retro. What does the word retro mean? It means in the past. Spect means see, so it's looking back. And here's an example. In retrospect, I wonder if we should have done more in high school. So thinking back to high school days, wondering if we should have done more. And here is a cartoon to help you remember. This grandchild is telling his grandfather that he should really look back on his life and realize that he was wrong about everything, and that means he's mature. Your next word is menial. Menial is an adjective, a word that describes a noun. The definition is menial work is boring, needs no skill, and is not important. So she did menial tasks about the house, like moving food around, rinsing out the sink, kicking shoes to the side, etc. So all these tasks were very boring, you didn't need really skills, it really wasn't even that important. So in this cartoon here, this secretary obviously has a menial job, because all she's asking her boss if she can get him coffee, newspaper, a shoemaker, nothing really important to the job itself. Your next word is coaxed. Coaxed is a verb, so again, an action word. And the definition of coax is to persuade someone to do something that they do not want to do by talking to them in a kind, gentle, and patient way. So you're persuading somebody, but you're doing it in a nice way. So, please, Vic, come with us, Nancy coaxed. So the way she's trying to get this Vic guy to come is by doing it nicely. So here, this newscaster is trying to the newscaster's boss is trying to coax the newscaster to do anything to help attract ratings. So unbutton the blouse, lose the bra. He's doing it nicely, but somewhat inappropriately. Next word is allure. An allure is a noun. Allure is a mysterious, exciting, or desirable quality. So the allure of foreign travel causes people to save up money for years in order to see other countries. So it's something desirable, something exciting, something we don't really know about because if we've never done it before. So the allure of making easy money is what drives people to drug dealing. So this is a little visual to help you remember that allure is like something desirable. It's a kind of make us do things. Inclination is your next word. And that is also a noun. And the definition of inclination is a feeling that makes you want to do something. So my natural inclination was to say no when I was offered drugs for the first time. Okay, the feeling that you want to do, that your inclination, your inner desire. Notice the prefix in is very similar. It's an inside kind of thing. So here's a cartoon to help you remember. He just has no inclination. So this gentleman has no inclination to do anything because he's just sleeping on the couch all day. No inner drive whatsoever. Serendipity is your next word. That is a noun. And the definition of serendipity is when interesting or valuable discoveries are made by accident. So, it was serendipity that the worker was late to work at the World Trade Center the day of the 9/11 attacks. Now, we heard this a lot, that people survived because they were late to work and weren't in the buildings that day. And here is an example of a cartoon. Right here it says, now there's serendipity for you. Win a cruise for two, unsinkable jacuzzi included. So as a part of their prize package, they won that unsinkable jacuzzi, which luckily they won because the cruise sunk, but the jacuzzi is unsinkable, so they're able to hang out in the jacuzzi while they are waiting for help there. Your next word is opted. Opted is a verb, so it's an action. And the definition of opted is to choose one thing or do one thing instead of another. So many young people are opting to go on to college. So they're choosing as opposed to not continuing their education. So here is a little cartoon to help you remember. Hockey players are in the penalty box, and the one says, I opted out of the dental plan too, which is a little humor about hockey players and their lack of teeth, meaning because they don't have any dental insurance to get it fixed. Scarce is your next word. Scarce is an adjective, which is a word that describes a noun. The definition of scarce is if something is scarce, there's not very much of it available. So food was often scarce in the winter, especially in far northern regions. So when people were farmers in the wintertime and the ground hardened, food became scarce. There wasn't very much of it available. Here's a cartoon. He's making a statement that there's plenty of information available to us, but our attention is scarce. We don't really pay attention to it a lot, so we're lacking that ability. It's not there for us. All of these words are from Making Reading Real, your textbook, Chapter 1, starting on page 44 for further review.